go on one condition, if my other sister, Eda, will go, because Eda was already 17, I was 13, and I signed up, and 3 months later, after 9 days on a ship on the Atlantic, which was awful, I was very sick, I came to America. And the view of the New York Harbor, cannot even begin to describe how beautiful that was. And women from the, not Hadassah, the other organization, the UNRWA, there's another Jewish relief fund, came to greet us, and then, oh, this is cute for all your kids, then I'll stop. So they took us to a settlement house, and at that point there were 18 of us, orphans. I was the youngest among the orphans. The others were 17, 16, you know, much, much older girls. And they all handed us a pair of pajamas. They all made us go and take showers. And then they gave each person an orange and an Hershey bar. Now, I had not seen an orange in years, many, many, many years. So right away we ate the orange, and then my sister and I said to my sister, Eda, you know what, I'm going to save the Hershey bar for tomorrow. So I took the Hershey bar and put it under my pillow, because I was afraid somebody was going to take it away. And when I got up in the morning, well, you know what happens. It wasn't gone, it was all melted over the pillow. But I have so many other stories to tell, it would take me forever.
Yes.
So I don't have to answer your question.
I'm going to help contract it. What do you do every January 17th?
We celebrate. Every January 17, we get together and we celebrate Liberation Day. So 2 years ago, now mind you, there was only 5 orphans that survived. So 2 years ago, we had a beautiful, beautiful party, and we had 120 people, descendants, out of 5 out of them.
Will you tell them, and I really want to open this for questions, tell them what your mother used to do to count the kids in the family. Because there were 7 children originally.
Well, she would say, you know, if she wanted to find out one kid and she couldn't remember somebody's name, she would get them all together.
Everybody have that experience? That was the first thing that Reva said to me this morning, is like, it was roll call in the family. And some of you go to Herzl Camp. Anybody go to Herzl Camp, Herzl? Reva's son Gary Keyboard is the director there. Has anybody ever been at Children's Hospital in Minneapolis, right, Philip? If you've ever been at Children's Hospital, her son is the director of Children's Hospital, Philip.
Yeah.
And Pam is a nurse.
A nurse at Abbott.
At Abbott. So if you've been helped by this family, who, you know, we shared a pretty grim story. And
I didn't even tell you.
And the whole, we didn't actually tell the worst stories, but one of the reasons, the whole time I was thinking, where's the Disney ending? We've so been trained to think like, where's the happily ever after, right? But I do want to tell you that Reva has 102 people come to the dinner, and 120. And if you look at Reva has stayed a member of a synagogue for all these years. She and Ben were married by a rabbi, and their children went to Talmud Torah. Reva went to Hebrew school for all these things. And so I want to open this to questions of, and the last one, what you're going to say at the end is, why do you talk about this if it was so awful? But I want to, let's save that. Let's save that of why you thought it was worth coming out when you're not feeling great this morning. You're going to talk tonight at Yom HaShoah. Then she's been invited by Rabbi Weininger to talk at the after talk at 9 o'clock tonight. So I want you to ask your questions first, and we have about, let's start with Sean. And what I want you to do, Sean, is I want you to stand up, and we're going to say it into the microphone so everybody hears, okay?
What was the worst part of your experience, and what was the best part of it?
What was the worst part, and what was the best part?
Killing my mother and father, having no mother and father, becoming an orphan. That was the worst part. The best part is coming to America.
If you have a question, I want you to, let's do this kind of quickly. Just say your name.
did you come to Minnesota?
Why did I come here?
Yeah.
Why did they send me to California?
That's fine, yeah, they're
They
good.
sent me here. I was in Chicago in an orphanage. I was in several orphanages. So while I was in Chicago, they sent me to, from New York, they sent me to Chicago. From Chicago, they found a foster home for me in Minneapolis. I had no choice. I often wonder, why did they send me where it's warm? But I'll tell you why. I think the reason was, being that I was born in Poland and Warsaw, climate-wise, was pretty similar to our winters here. So I think that's why they sent me here. I asked them many times.
I'm Talia. I'm 13.
She's Talia.
Oh, Talia. My name is Talia.
She's Talia. She's 13 years old. We're just giving you a little information.
Yeah.
Do you approach like daily things differently because of your experiences?
How do you approach your life, given how awful things were as a child? Yeah.
How do I approach my life?
That's okay.
Well, you know what? I've always had a very positive outlook. I've always felt that I'm very, very lucky. I also feel that there's a reason why I survived. Why my mother and my whole family was killed, I don't know. But I think there must have been a reason why I survived, because somebody had to survive to be able to sit here and tell you the story. So I've always felt very, very lucky. And like I told you before, I was lucky that I had siblings left. A lot of my brother-in-laws were survived sole people, only one person in a family. So I think maybe because I'm just very, very lucky.
We have time for 2 more questions, or yep, come over here, and then you'll have another opportunity. Go ahead, stand up, say your name, and come up.
I'm Elias, and I have one question. I have a grandma. Her name is Anna Zolotanasiv, and she was a kid in the Holocaust. And she told me about some of her stories, and her mother was in it too. And
Well, you have to
I will. Is there a question? Or you just wanted her to know?
did you have any close friends to you that,
Survive.
yeah, like that survived?
His grandmother is also a survivor, and he wanted to know if she's told him a lot, and he wants to know, did you have any close friends who survived?
I mean, there's a lot of them, but no, not really. You see, when I came here, I was very, very young. So I really didn't associate with a lot of the people, the survivors, because I tried to, I don't know, my sisters had friends who were survivors, but I do know a lot of survivors, but they're really not my friends. Which is
I'm Eva, and if your like your sisters and brothers were kind of with you, would it change how you felt then?
Let me understand the question. How has it impacted you that your siblings did survive with you? Would it have been different if they had not?
Nobody see that.
What?
What is it you want?
I think she's asking what was the impact of having your siblings survive?
Good question. That was one of the reasons. You know, I said that once before. A lot of people that came to the camp, to the labor camp, died. They just gave up. And I think we were very, very lucky because we did have one another to talk to remember to talk about home, about my mother, about my father. That was very, very important because we kept talking about it. That gave us strength to survive. It was very important. A lot of survivors, I remember a group came in from Hungary, and they just gave up. They figured, you know, what is the sense of living? They're all alone. Yeah, so it's very, very important to have somebody that you can calm down and talk to. I know you.
Yes, we're going to end with Yossi's question because we have about 6 minutes. Am I have the time right? I think it's quarter past. Oh, it's quarter past? Oh, I set my pocket then. Okay, so it's right there. Now we have time. Okay, great. Okay, so
Let's just make one point.
Yeah.
I just want to tell the kids mostly, the adults already know that. The most important thing for the children is do not judge anybody. Do not know you hear this all the time. By color, by religion. Be tolerant of different people. Be tolerant of different colors. I mean, this is what happened in Poland. From the day one, there was one incident when I was 5 years old, and I was watching some of the Catholic little girls having communion in front of the Virgin Mary. And I was standing and watching them, and I was admiring them, how beautiful they looked, in the white little gowns with the flowers. And you know what they do? And they yelled back at me, again, do you Jew, Polish, of course. It is so important that we just tolerate, that we have compassion for everybody. That's what I want you to know.
Did you not want to know too many people at the camp? Did you think that if you knew so many people at the camp and you were with them and they were to go next, since you would be with them, you would go too? Is that why you were amongst them?
Either I am deaf, I cannot hear them.
So the question is, when you were in the camps, did you try not to make relationships with people so that if they died, it either would be sad for you or you wouldn't have to go with them? Like, did you try to stay away from people or did you try to have friendships in the camp?
No, you stick together with the people. You stick together with the people. No, you didn't think at that point that something's going to happen. It was very important because we have to stick with them.
So as you're thinking here, because you know that we're going to run out of time, I want you to write down any questions that come up and give them to me, and we'll get Reva to answer them at some point, okay? So if anybody's thinking of more questions, I do want you to email them to me, Wendy at Shirkipa, and we'll get them. I'm going to have, let's see, we'll take one more question, and then we're going to...
I'm Daisy, and you talked in your speech about how the Polish people were yelling at you when you were in the car, in the box cars. So I know that you faced a lot of discrimination. I was wondering how that affected your outlook on different groups who are also facing the same thing. Do you feel more compassion for them?
Oh, this is great. So she's saying that when the kids were yelling at you, dirty Jew, in the boxcar and stuff, does that give you more compassion today when you see groups being targeted?
Yes, of course. Absolutely. Nobody should ever do that, ever.
Okay. So Reva, tell them why you do these talks when you're not feeling well. Tell them. I'm just going to write something up here. Tell them why you came today.
I came today because it's very important to tell the story. Because I am one of the last ones around, and I keep telling everybody, when I'm no longer here, that's the end of the Holocaust survivors. So even though I'm not feeling well, I'm having a lot of trouble, but I just felt that it's important. And besides, I love Wendy.
In fact, two of the other survivors, we were going to divide into 3 groups, and two of the others, they couldn't make it because it was too hard. And so we were trying to do this in more, yeah.
Can we talk about it?
We say Zachor on this day. Would you all say that with me? Zachor. And what I want you to do in a moment is turn to your next door neighbor, and I want you to say the following. I will always remember, and then I want you to fill in that blank. Or you can say, I will never forget. Okay? I want everyone in the room to do that. And then we're going to have a few people volunteer to say, wait.